Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Couch Potato Queens Survivor Marquesas Recap. I'm your host, Josh Mendelson, and I'm so excited to talk about these next two episodes. More of Sarah's breasts and more of Maramu Tribe failure. So, as you can be a failure, I can admit defeat because my next guest that I'm bringing on today whooped my ass in an online version of Survivor. So I may as well thank them by bringing him on today. So I'm going to bring on Nick Dicola.
Hi, how
Hi,
are
Nick. How's
you?
it going?
Good, good. Thanks for the wonderful introduction.
I know. I mean, what better to talk
Mhm.
about Virginia kicking Brandon's ass?
Listen,
So
I when I play an old woman, you just can't trust me. That's the whole thing, you know?
exactly. So as the viewers, I don't know if they know, but me and Nick played a game together. It was an alias game in the
Mhm.
online reality gaming world, and I went over the top as I usually do. I can't hide my personality. Nick was an old woman, which was incredible.
Sitting in the corner, just plotting their demise the
And
entire time.
and she probably looked at me day one and was like, "That's a mess. It needs to go." And the rest is history.
And now we're totally fine after all that.
And now we're totally fine. There you go. It's all good.
It's all in the past.
It's all in the past. But what's in the present today is talking about something that happened 19 years ago.
Oh
So,
my God.
yes, we're going to talk Survivor Marquesas. Are you excited to talk these episodes?
100%. They were interesting, I'd say that. I have not watched an old season in so long, and just the pacing is wild to me. Tribal councils are like 2 minutes long.
I know, and there's not as much strategy. Like, I guess it
Mhm.
starts in this season, like Marquesas is
Yeah.
where it begins, but until this, it's been like nothing. Like some of the old
Mhm.
seasons are like I'm falling asleep watching because
I
there's
agree.
nothing. But
Sometimes, yeah.
exactly. Well, let's go ahead and get started right into episode 3. Maramu, the losing tribe, is back from tribal council. They voted out Mama, which all I
Tear.
remember, I loved her because she got lathered in sunscreen by Hunter. That was not awkward to watch at all. I don't know what was more awkward, that or Peter talking about holes.
Listen, I respect the honesty of Peter. I felt so bad because I'm like, you know what? Maybe if I were on there and I thought I was connecting with people, then I would go there. And then I'm like, maybe this is a lesson for me.
Just don't talk about holes.
Don't talk about holes.
Unless it's like Holes the book / movie.
Yeah, but then like people, that was like 10 years ago. Nobody's going to know about it.
Right, exactly. All right, so they're getting back. Morale is low at night. Sarah is pissed at Hunter and Gina that she got 3 votes. Hunter says, don't be sensitive about it. And she's like, apparently I have to be. Apparently I have to be. Sarah is saying she wanted to save her energy for the challenges. At Tribal Council, she said that. And Gina got pissed with her at that. That's what made Gina decide to vote her. And what does Vesepia say? There's too much drama.
Queen.
So, what are your thoughts on Maramu post?
Well, honestly, in watching this, I think I've seen it a little bit a long time ago, and when you're younger, you don't really pay as much attention as you do as like a Super Survivor fan or like somebody who plays them. But you just see them putting Vesepia in here all the time, and she just has the most like beautiful way of putting how you're supposed to play Survivor, while everybody else in Maramu is the antithesis of what you're supposed to do. And it's kind of like a beautiful like portrait right there. The storytelling, I think, was really good in that way. Having the fights going around V, and everybody else just doing different ways of doing things bad, like Hunter and Gina not playing strategically enough and thinking too much about, working at camp, and the other people who are just getting too into it, and sometimes too much strategy, or not even like too much strategy, just like yeah, Rob was doing stuff that was probably good, but V had it what you're supposed to do, especially back then.
Yeah.
Like, think about a Tina Wesson win. That's how you're supposed to do it.
I agree. V was sitting back, letting all these crazy people go at it, and she was like, am I the only one who's playing for $1 million here? Because y'all are not. All of you are not.
And we're not there yet, but it's so funny because these are like 2 episodes. It's just 2 V episodes of her just saying, this is not it. Yeah.
All right, well, we get to row 2. Gabriel is calling the tribe the happy tribe.
Oh,
He's saying
God.
Kathy is loved now. So Kathy has all of a sudden been taken in by the row 2 tribe. She's trying to be more low key, and the tribe's accepting her more. So we're getting Kathy on good side right now, which I love because I love Kathy. We got Nalia and Pascal making a bond. Pascal is saying she reminds him of his daughter. He's calling her Sweet Pea. She's calling him Pappy. It's cute. We also have John Carroll being pricked in his finger by a sea urchin.
This is like the most that is the most iconic scene, I think, probably from this, and I'm so glad I got to watch this again. And I'm like,
let's go. What are your thoughts? Take everyone through
honestly,
what happened.
I think this is the boring tribe. Like, aside from, like, to me, like, because it's so happy right now, I don't love the super drama, but like when everything's like working well for people like Gabriel, it drives me crazy because, like,
I know.
Gabriel, I don't want to hear it anymore. I've heard you say the same thing. This is not Utopia. This is like, and I know it's totally, it's a totally different game, and I appreciate the different. I like every different kind of thing. I think it's fun. I think Pascal, like Pappy and Sweet Pea, I called it the nickname tribe, which is adorable, right?
Yes.
I just don't like I am not a manly man at all. So it's just me. This is my personality that when I see those people, it's just like, ugh, okay, we get it. You're surviving, yada, yada, yada. But like for the Kathy scene, just like, that saved everything, because like she's just
incredible.
Like, hey, I'll pee on it. And the funniest part to me is when she's like afterwards, like, I was really embarrassed afterwards. I'm like, you know what? Honestly, it kind of feels like how I am as a person. I would do something completely nuts and then like, yeah. Wait a second. What did I just do on national television? Like, I just peed on someone's hand.
So do you know the tea on this? Apparently Pascal tried doing it first and he like whipped it out and like stood there for like 10 minutes trying.
Performance anxiety.
He just couldn't do it. The judge could not give the verdict. So Kathy went on down and just squatted and pissed, and good for her. Apparently it was a lot too. So
oh my God. I don't even know if that works. I've heard about this.
I guess it did.
I mean, maybe. Look, who am I to question? Look, Johnny Pots and Pans. He knows best.
Per Kathy, at least I performed in the Call of Duty. Okay.
Really?
But back to John. I feel like of LGBT characters on Survivor, John is one of my favorites because I feel like John isn't the stereotype in some ways. And I feel like he did a really good job of living up to the LGBTQ community. Do you agree with that?
I have a lot of takes on this, actually, okay. But I don't want to get too deep into it.
We'll wait.
I will say that I feel bad because I feel like among all the other pressures he felt, I think he felt like he had to do way more than anybody else did.
Yeah.
And that's why, and then he becomes this, I mean, I'm sure that's in his nature to be a leader, but I think he pushed himself way more, like, to start the fire and everything else that he had done because of, like, I need to prove that gay people can be leaders and yada, yada, yada. But also my other take, this is like, it's deeper than this, but like, I don't mind having a stereotypical gay person on there because I'm a stereotypical gay person.
Oh, me too.
Like,
are you kidding? We're the couch potato queens over here.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, I don't mind that narrative, but like, because I want different, like everybody, you want a variation of. You don't want like some like yelling queen like me all the time, but I want a yelling queen because that's fine with me too. Like, so I don't care. I love that he's on there being butch, doing the work, but my problem is in the episode 2. But we'll probably talk about that with Rob Mariano, where I get a little heated.
Oh, there's a couple things that Rob Mariano says over these 2 episodes, and I'm like, really, bitch?
Really, not a good look.
Not a cute look. Not cute. Pass on that. All right, next on to the Maramu tribe. We get part new of the infamous news report. Hunter's giving the weather. Sean's the main host. Visepia is giving the no-no report. Rob's calling in about the no-nos. These no-nos seem awful, like worse than mosquitoes. Like literally it's like the evolved Pokemon version of mosquitoes. It's like mosquitoes evolve into no-nos, and these things look like hell. Like they're like destroying these people's skin. I wouldn't want to be near one. Would you?
I could do without the up close visuals of the no-nos, honestly. Like, let them tell the story. And they've done this before, I think, and after in later seasons, but it's just like, oh my, I mean, they want you to show, they want people to see how real it is, but it's like, oh my gosh, those high definition, I mean, it's 2000 whatever 2 or something, so they're not high definition, but as close to high definition looks at those like legs and their back. It's literally everywhere. And it's not, I'm like, I got it at one person's back. I didn't need to see everybody's ruin. It's horrible. That's one thing I don't know if I could handle out there. Like, I would love to go out, but anything but that. Please don't send me to the Marquesas. If there's a place with no-nos, I'll be happy with that.
I think that's why they've never gone back to the Marquesas.
Oh my god,
of the bugs.
Because you can't shoot people. Like you have to just keep a nice distance from everybody, because that is really like a visceral look at their skin. Oh
yeah. It's not fun. Doesn't look fun to me.
Not at all.
I don't want to get bitten up by those. All right, so we have our pre-reward challenge. Jeff Probst comes to the beaches and he delivers bamboo, and he says that they need to construct a raft. It's kind of an infamous challenge that actually is a bigger deal in All-Stars when they redo it, because it leads to the tribe swap or the tribe dissolving in that. Mm-hmm. But this is the original one. Over at Row 2, I think Gabe kind of backs that. But there's a lot going on at Row 2, not strategy-wise, though. But we have Robert the General getting his toe sliced. John gets bit by an eel. But, hey, they're putting together a good boat at least. Yeah. And over at Maramu, they have just no idea what they're doing. Like, they don't have a leader. You have Maramu not being able to figure their shit out. Rob's quote, I have a big quote on Rob. He says, I'm totally 100% like Hunter, because Hunter's trying to lead it. But I'm keeping it inside because I know people are not going to take kindly to that type of atmosphere. So the smart guy will sit back and let everybody step up to the big and be the big man. And then in the end, just bank in their mistakes. So Rob is sitting back while Hunter's trying to lead. What's your thought on what's going on?
Well, I almost tuned out because it's like challenge, and I'm like, I could just not write anything. But I think they edited it pretty well, because it was really cute how they went like to all the fucking, sorry. So, if I can swear, right?
You can swear all you want.
All that fucking activity that they were doing, going crazy over at Row 2, and then just not even crickets, just silence and standing on Maraamu. I was like, oh, editing, girl, you did it. So I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. And I'm just like, but there was stuff happening, like, well, who was it? John getting re-injured, like,
He's like the Michael Skupin.
I know. I was going to say he who should not be named of.
Oh yeah, Michael Skupin, former child or predator. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, oh. Mm-mm. But yes, exactly what I was thinking. It was like, I did not realize how injured this man got, and I'm just like, just sit down. Just, you don't need anything to prove here. Like, you're fine. Oh my god! In the scene where they're cutting the rest of I'm like, my family's doctors, so I'm like,
oh
fine.
yeah, you have Nurse John coming to the rescue with everybody,
yeah,
skin off the general, whatnot. What's your thought on Rob kind of sitting back?
I appreciate that, and I think that's correct, obviously, and he's right. But I think he's delusional, first of all. Well, not that, like, obviously he knows, but he's not sitting back. He's more subtle about things, but he's strategizing in a way that I think is, on par with the way that Hunter is playing. It's just like, it's a few seasons into Survivor, so now you are the subtle guy now, but I don't buy it fully, but that is literally the way you're supposed to play Survivor. You're not supposed to play in front.
No, you're supposed to play behind the scenes, but I do think Rob is playing a little too fast. Mm-hmm. I think he's playing a little too hard too fast. I think that this strategy would work in an all-star game, but the first time you play, you need to sit back and not be trying to control everybody. He has Sean, Sarah, he's made that alliance. You know what I mean? If he would have, I think, put himself back, kept Hunter around, spoiler alert, and just kind of took a back seat, he probably could have made it farther in the game, I feel. But you never know, right? We woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Exactly.
Exactly. So we get to our reward challenge, and the tribes need to use the rafts they created to race across, crisscross diagonally to unhook their 5 boxes that are floating in the water, and then turn around and race back to the finish. The winners win blankets, pillows, and a lantern, or a week's worth of rice. It's pretty neck and neck, the challenge. But Row 2 again takes the lead at the end and defeats Maramu, but they look so defeated at the end of that challenge. What are your thoughts, Nick?
I mean, well, whatever. Who cares? It's a challenge. I was like, it's kind of fun. It was neck and neck. It was like, that's fun, Survivor. But these old challenges too are like, everything's a little bit like clunky and like,
yeah,
you're like I'm like losing where everybody. I'm like, oh, they're the way they shoot them getting the boxes up is just so odd. And then they're like,
so documentary. It's
they're trying to show you. They show you like who's in the lead for a little bit, and then it just like. It's just the clipping of who you see pulling out the box first is the one who got the box first. But it's just I is like, oh wow, this is a way to do the challenge. But yeah, I'm like I said, this is not what I watch it for. And this is like what irritates me about Hunter and Gina and stuff is that oh no, and everybody's frustrated, but they can't handle it. Like that's why they end up. This is why they end up on the outs. I don't even think it's because they're taking charge.
They were cocky.
I just think it's because they think that you gotta win every challenge and you gotta have an emotion about the challenge, but you can't have an emotion about the challenge. Be upset because you might lose somebody, but you can't like be mad. At some point you do because you're like, we need numbers, yada yada yada. But you just need to get your head into getting liked instead of throwing judgments on your tribe.
And usually in Survivor case, in Survivor history, also good and evil history. With our game that we played, if you go into a merge with less numbers than the other group and there's a group that has more numbers than you, chances are the smaller group does better. Overall, the bigger group has cracks in their thing. At the end of this game, spoiler alert, Amara Amu wins the game. So you can lose challenges. It's not, I don't like throwing challenges isn't the best decision, but if you lose a lot of challenges, but you make it to the merge, not necessarily going to screw you.
Yeah, that's what I think. But it's hard. It's because it's a new show. We have our own biases developed from years of watching the show and years of listening to podcasts and years of playing the game if you do yourself. And when you play the game, you just obviously develop game theory on your own.
Yeah.
And that's not what the show was about. And
no.
And that's fine. And that's what people used to watch it for. And I mean, like I said, like I told you about that scene where they show the two tribes. Like, I think there's a little bit like the way they shot scenes back in there was certain care and thoughtfulness to storytelling that maybe they don't have now, and which upsets some people. And I think I agree with that. And I wish they'd have more of that. I think they do try still, but back then that's what it was about. It was about the story. And it was about these people being so different. And now it's about strategy and then so challenges are just another element of strategy.
Yeah.
And not a judgment. And I think that people like Vesepi even and Rob understand that you cannot count that. You can count it a little bit as much as you need to, but that's just my opinion.
I agree with that though. I think that's a really good point. That really the challenges, they're there, they're fun to watch, but at the end of the day, it's a strategy that counts. Being good at challenges isn't necessarily going to get you the win.
I mean, win by all means. Don't go to tribal. Perfect. Yeah,
it saves you from tribal, but I think having a better strategy or even a social game is way more important than being good at challenges. Because you could be great at challenges and lose one and get voted out.
Yeah.
You know, it's better of having...
It's good to find out, though, you know, where your tribe stands at some point before a swap or a merge, though.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so we get to Maramu. Vesepi is saying they have 4 big L's.
That was so cute.
Really
that was
bad.
Really cute. I really like that.
She has so many good one-liners. She is kind of like Tina Weston a little bit. Very similar.
Yeah, I just think that I don't think that anybody realizes that about her because it's been so long and people like, oh, what a boring winner. I'm like, oh,
No, she's not boring. She doesn't want drama, but she has funny one-liners. She has a good read on the game and what's
I
going
think
on.
that's so funny. Her like disgust towards drama. So
Yeah,
it's
maybe
almost
that's
comical the way she's like, mm-mm,
not
I do
today.
not. I don't want to deal with it at all. Nope.
Yeah, they're going into this immunity challenge. They're hungry. They need a win. It's like do or die for them. They go into the immunity challenge. It's a coconut maze race. They have 3 coconuts. They have to get them through the maze and into the hole. Each tribe will have a caller and 4 people controlling the maze. Using pulleys, they will lower the rate and raise the maze to move the coconuts through it. First tribe to 3 balls wins. Maramu takes an early lead. Like they seem like they're doing good. And for like the first 2, even like Sarah doesn't do bad. She's like the caller. I'm like, is Sarah gonna fuck this up for everybody?
Yeah.
Sarah does pretty well.
Win. I thought they were gonna win this challenge.
I bet you her breasts took over and were like, let's do this. So Sarah's breasts, thank you for helping out in part 2 of the challenge. Thank you for that. But but the third part, somehow it got screwed up and it got neck and neck again. And Rotu wins again, sending Maramu back to tribal council. And they almost don't even look at Davina. They're like, oh, yeah, we're used to this. All right, another one. So
that gets like, that does get frustrating. I get it. And especially when you're so close. Like,
I know.
They saw where the ball was when Jeff called, so it's like, I was like, maybe this is the one that because I don't have a fresh memory, so I'm like, this is the one. Maybe this they win this one. And I'm like, oh no, they don't.
Maybe they're gonna do it. But back to Maramu, this is actually interesting. This is an interesting quote from Rob in this one. This is like the legendary Rob quote. They're strategizing and they're deciding between is Sarah going to go this time? Is it going to be Sean that goes? Rob's talking to Hunter and he's telling Hunter what he wants to hear. But then you hear Rob with Sean basically agreeing to their alliance, what they're going to do. And here's the quote from Rob. It's important having people on my team that are going to do what I tell them to do and not know what I'm telling them to do. Doesn't matter if my team is stronger physically or stronger mentally, just that they obey. If they realize if they need you, that's what will keep them loyal. Fear keeps people loyal. If they're afraid that they have something to lose, and they'll do what you tell them to do. That's straight out of The Godfather. What are your thoughts on the Rob father?
Sure. Okay. Whatever, Queen.
I know. Here's my thing.
It's so dramatic. Like, God.
It's dramatic. It's cool, but it's like and I had this feeling with Big Tom last season. He's memorable, but kind of homophobic, kind of racist, kind of xenophobic, kind of everything-ophobic. So, like the comments that Rob makes, especially in the next episode that we're getting into, kind of holds in your head a little bit, and it's like, wow, Rob never had to face this. I forgot about this stuff. So it's kind of hard to put it together, but I'm judging this second. I'm like, okay, this is memorable. This is someone like worth watching. Let's see what he does. But I know you have a different opinion. You're like, tacky.
I just like, I mean, it's just like you can't pretend like that works on everybody, first of all. And sure, it's a good way to play with people who don't know how to play, and probably works in a lot of cases back in the day. But he's so convinced. I mean, it's a fun quote, whatever. I just don't like him that much, so I'm never gonna.
That you must have loved in Heroes versus Villains when he tries this on the tribe and they just take his ass out. It's incredible to watch. I mean,
like I whatever. Okay, work.
Yeah. He doesn't change his strategy up. He keeps the same strategy every time he plays.
And it's gonna work sometimes.
It is, and sometimes it's not, and it's gonna take him out pre-jury.
Look, he does because he is not flexible. I mean, he can understand that you have to sit back, but he as a person is rigid. His what's it called? Your ideas. His ideas are rigid. If that's what he thinks, that's how he's going to play, regardless of whether he says he's sitting back. At some point, he goes. That's, I think, part of good thing. Like, you go in with a mantra, so you don't get like too crazy of, oh, should I do this? Oh, am I being too backstabby? Or am I not being backstabby enough? Go in with something, but you got to be like bamboo, as they say. I think in one season of Survivor, they said be like, I mean, it's an old saying, obviously, but like you have to be flexible. Go in with something, but don't take a movie quote with you, because that's really...
That is a little tacky. Create
That's
something
really
new.
Stupid. Yeah, like, come
Be
on.
creative.
Be like V. Be funny, like, on your own. Don't quote a movie.
Yeah, make your own quotes. Make your own character.
Like, stop right now.
All right, so we get to tribal council. We think Sean or Sarah might go, but no. Rob gets his mafia together, and they take out the big bad hunter. Big shock. This is the first time that someone who was a tribal leader got taken out early. That's the first time it's happened. I don't really count Silas last season. I don't count that because Silas wasn't a leader. He was an idiot. But
it's different. It was a swap too, and whatever.
It was a swap. Exactly. But Hunter, really, we wouldn't have guessed that from the first episode. So it's pretty big. Gina thought she was going, so she's shocked. What's your take on it? Were you expecting this to happen?
I mean, there was I don't know if I know who, like, I obviously knew he went early. Couldn't remember exactly. I think I knew it was coming because of that, but I guess it was kind of a surprise. But there was this whole weird thing that I think, which is the issue back then, is like they don't talk about strategy enough. So you're like, you notice it because we're watching it and we've played these games and seen these things, and you see Gina and Hunter talking like they're scared, and you're like, when did this happen? There's no, like, the other two episodes don't lead into this one where it says that Gina and Hunter are on the outs, but they are. So that's why it's shocking, because they didn't tell the story very well. I don't think they didn't tell the strategic story very well.
Yeah. They kind of put Rob, Sarah, Sean, and Vesepia together without really getting into it that much.
Because you don't know why Vesepia is. I mean, I think if you're starting to see Vesepia and Sean get close, not even really though. Sarah obviously is with Rob, and then Rob is with Sean, but V is not explained that well, and that's why it's weird. But obviously they were talking, so that's where that's what was irritating about that. But it was like, I was glad, because I find Hunter obnoxiously boring and tired, and that type of character needed to be voted out at this point in the show. Done. I was glad. Write him off.
If this were Toy Story, Hunter would be like the Woody character, and Boston Rob would be like the Buzz Lightyear. Because like we've seen Woody, he's been around for like 50 years. Like we've seen this. We don't want to see another one, And
it's just like everything was like, yeah. It was a good one. I'm going along with it because it's a show and we have to go along with it.
Perfect.
No kidding. No, I agree. I just think that Hunter was a fun suck. Like, everything was like, these people need to do this and this. I'm like, you're not being fun. You're just, I don't care. Shut up. Just stop, please.
Amazing.
Like, and Gina is kind of boring too, like, just like, she's got mad a little more like than Hunter. Hunter was just like, I wish Hunter would have gotten like mad, but he just like nothing.
He didn't fight for it. He didn't act blindside. He's like, okay, cool, I'm gone.
Chill, y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing. Give me nothing, sis. Work.
Give me a personality, okay? Like, this doesn't happen. I feel like you start getting like big time personalities in Amazon. That is a season where you start getting bigger personalities, I think. Less boring people.
It's fine. I don't care. You can have people like that. I like dull every once in a while. Who is that one from like Heroes, Healers, Hustlers?
The dull, half the cast.
Oh my god, that was a read. The firemen or whatever. Like, I don't know. I kind of like. Offensively boring. Yeah.
As long as they're hot, if they're boring, that's fine. It's okay.
He did show his ass, so that was something.
There you go.
But yeah, like, But this is just like, it was just like a pool of meh people who usually like survive a long time in the game, and you're just like, oh, I'm supposed to like you, but you're not built for me, so I don't care.
Amazing. All right, so on to episode 4. We have Maramu Tribe. Gina is shocked Hunter was voted out. She thinks it was a stupid idea. Nobody has a good explanation for her. She said Zara said she had 2 people, and that's who she wanted to vote on. Well, Rob voted that person, and that's why she voted them. Gina's kind of bitter right now.
I think that's the most entertaining. She was just like, well, Sarah can't think for herself. And I'm just like, first of all, listen, you voted for Sarah, so we're not even like, I don't even know why you're having this, like, how could you vote for me? I'm like, did you want me to vote for myself? Like, come on.
She should have voted for one of Sarah's breasts. Like, that's what she should have done.
I just literally, I hate that, like, when you vote for somebody, you can't get mad at them for voting someone that you like.
You can't, but you can't show it. You can't show that you're mad. You have to bite your tongue. And Lindsay did it last season, and I thought that was iconic when Lindsay lost it a little bit after she got votes, and she was like, we did an interview with her, and she recreated that too. She did.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Watch the Lindsay interview. That was
okay.
But it was good. But those freakouts after getting votes, not smart for your game. No.
I never got mad when I play games. Not that the game we played that I ever made a mistake, except for that one time when you used your idol. But I kept my cool.
Yeah.
You had the idol.
I didn't vote you, so we didn't idol you out.
Your biggest mistake.
I should have, but I didn't. I liked you. I liked Virginia, even though Virginia hated Brandon. But
I'm so sorry.
It's cool. I was somewhat loyal-ish.
But yeah, you don't get mad. You just you sit there and you're like, well, that was dumb. I hate that. And you go to a confessional, which is what they have that too in Survivor. You go to a confessional.
You go and bitch on the confessional. Like when I talked to you after you voted me the first time, I was like, all cool. I was like, it's good. I understand why you voted me. It's all good. And then you just did it again.
It's just, that's tea. And you just get it. You just look at that person and go, I understand. I fully understand what you did. And I want to just see if we can work together.
Figure it out.
We're figure it out.
We're just going to figure it out. I want them gone. So no.
Die. Wait, I said that really loud, and that was supposed to be a whisper cough. Sorry.
Incredible.
No, yeah, that was my acting voice. Did you like it?
I
did you believe it? You wanted to work.
I knew you were full of shit.
Hey, doesn't matter. It still worked out.
Yeah, I was more mad at Diego though. I wasn't as mad at you. So.
And that's another thing you do. You get mad at somebody else in the game.
But I should have been mad at you though, but I wasn't.
But this is what Survivor is. Like, that's what Vesepia is, right?
Right, exactly. Vesepia is what they should get mad at, but they're getting mad at someone.
Like obviously you can't get mad at Sarah, but you are fighting with Sarah.
She's not getting mad at Sarah because Sarah doesn't have a brain at this point in her life. Maybe she does in her 40s, but
that's what I'm saying. It's like she's talking to Sarah, but that's not the one you should be talking to. You should be going to V and having this conversation about, what's happening? Because Sarah has every reason to vote for Hunter. Why didn't V vote with you and Hunter is the bigger question.
Exactly. Well, V's smart because she stays out of the drama, out of the limelight, and she makes her way to the end of the game. So that's the way to do it, folks. Not being a big personality.
Right?
Tone that down a little bit.
Nothing.
All right. So over at Road 2, back to Perfect Tribe Life. I mean, we don't even need to get into it because we've heard it a million times. The Love Shack, the Love Tribe, blah, blah, blah. You're boring. Go away. We need something to shake it up and get some fun people on the boring tribe. So let's
do a swap.
Let's do a tribe swap. Challenges of Brain and Brawn are nothing compared to this. Your world will turn, your head will spin as you stand upon a disc. So every contestant stood on a disc, on a wooden disc.
I love how dramatic that was.
I know.
For the you're standing on a disc. You're choosing a disc.
Like how Zoe did it the first time. He had Zoe pick up the disc and she's like, what's going on? she has that deep voice. She's like, "What's going on? What's in that? What's in that disc?"
Oh,
A
that's good.
blue buff. So Zoe, first member of row two, along with row two, Gabriel, John, and Tammy, and Robert the General. So 5 original row two. And Vesepia, Rob, and Sean joined the row two tribe, so they were swapped over. Now on Mara Amu, we have Gina and Sarah, and then we have Nalia, Kathy, and Pascal that were swapped over to Mara.
It was almost an all girls tribe.
It was. I would have loved
It
an
was
all
almost a
girls
tribe
tribe.
I could just have stand.
It would have been the Spice Girls tribe. 5
Seriously.
girls. I would have loved.
Alas.
We have Sarah swapped away from Rob, so she now has to be on her own and has to gain a brain somehow. We have Nelly and Pascal together. We have Gina happy to have some new friends because she's been miserable up until this point. And then we have Rob and Sean, who went from controlling Mara Amu to now at the bottom of the row two totem pole. So, what are your thoughts on the swap and how it's influenced the game?
I mean, Mara Amu's just screwed, and like I know Gina's obviously in a better position, but very minorly, because Sarah is just like a target for this type of these type of players. Like there's just and Rob and Sean going to a place where there's another alpha. It's just a recipe for disaster for them in my mind, and you just see it's not like nothing. You're like, this could almost work if this one tribe got if one Mara Amu just went over, and then you just like you almost want it to work out. You're like,
yeah. I think it worked out pretty fun. It was fun to see Rob and Sean go over to row two, which was this like worker bee tribe with no fun. And they're like, screw this, we're sitting back and doing work and have fun.
I understand that too, to a degree, because it's like, especially like I keep saying, especially in the older seasons, but true. It's just like I saw Sean just saying that. It's like, you're probably going to get voted out, right? Like, but obviously that's not the way you'd go about it. But like, yeah, like if you think you're going to get voted out, you don't want to do work for these people. You don't want to do like free work for these people.
No. So we have over at Maramu, we have Gina happy to have new friends that don't want to be lazy. Kathy, to us, we feel like we're at a 4-star hotel with fruit on the table. So she's loving all the fruit.
That fruit looked good.
Yes, I agree. Can I say the fruit looked amazing? They have like mangoes, and I was like, I'd rather be over there with row two's waterfall though, because that's kind of cool.
That's true.
Kathy and Gina bond over their backgrounds of studying environmental studies. My favorite part of this segment was the awkward second of Sarah explaining Hunter was their weather reporter, and Gina being like, "Yeah, they voted him off last night."
Yeah. That is fun.
It was incredible. So automatically people know that there is tension between Sarah and Gina. And that's a fun tension. It's like an underrated tension between the two of them.
I loved it, yeah.
I think Gina is jealous of Sarah's breasts.
Hey, look, I just think that their storyline is so great, and I just think they're such different. I think what Gina lacks in that personality kind of thing was like totally bolstered by her being antagonistic towards Sarah. So I'm so glad they were there together, because that added so much, because it was just this weird, subtle, like clashing that it was simmering, like, you could taste it like a nice sauce. And it wasn't overbearing. It was just like, oh, this is cute. Oh, and then I don't want to go too far ahead, but I just don't want to forget, because I'm thinking about Sarah and how iconic she is, like laying atop the American flag and sleeping as if it's like a sleeping bag. I'm like,
she's incredible. She's so delusional, and that's what makes her iconic.
And I think the funny thing is, like, imagine back then how taboo that would have been.
I know.
Like, if there were social media, she would have been crucified.
Oh, she would have been canceled faster than the word cancellation.
Oh my God.
It's great. So this is a segment I think we're going to definitely have some time talking about. because we have some quotes we're about to hear that are a bit, not appropriate. We have Tammy happy to get new people on the tribe. Vesepia thought it was a genuine welcome, but also thought they wanted the newbies to jump right into working. We have Rob reading the tribe. He says, I'll quote it all, and then we'll get into discussion on this.
Okay, let me take a breath. Let me take a breath, please.
Go for it. Okay. We have Gabe seems cool, but he's a brainiac. Probably thinks he's smarter than he really is. When I first saw John, I thought he was a big-time queer. I won't be sleeping next to him tonight. Not the first night, anyway. The general is big and tough and wants everybody to know that. Probably has a little sausage. Tammy engaged. I don't know what the word it was with Tammy. I don't think it was engaged. It was something, whatever. Zoe is pretty nice, but come on. So basically, he's reading everyone, giving homophobic remarks at John. I was a little offended. I was.
I mean, I'm not even gonna give excuses because it was 2002. I'm like,
I was offended.
Like, I mean, like, I'm not even giving Rudy excuses necessarily for that, but there's nothing that John is doing that should make you feel uncomfortable, and you just have to say it. Because you're probably insecure now in this tribe, and I'm not even giving him the pass because he's insecure. Well, fuck him and his insecurities.
Yeah.
That was gross. I hated every moment of it. I wish I could have jumped through the screen, and never mind. We're not going to go into that.
Let's not get too far into it, but like, it was fucked up.
I was like,
and then they heroized Boston Rob when he said these comments and never apologized for them, by the way. I looked on the internet to see, did Boston Rob apologize for his incredibly homophobic comments from back in the day when he was on the first season?
And like misogynistic bullshit too.
Never.
Everything bad you could do is just like, he did it. I just like wrote in my notes, like I took up half a page. It says, fuck you, B-Rob. Didn't even want to write his whole name because I didn't care enough.
I'm not going to lie. I would love to hold him accountable.
Hey.
And one day get the opportunity to interview him and ask him about these comments.
I just don't think people are, I doubt it's going to happen. I'm just like, whatever.
I want to, like, I'm that person who like, it would be fun to do that and see what he has to say today about those things. I mean, it was 18, 19 years ago, but you would think he would have made a statement by now because he is Boston Rob, the hero of Survivor.
But I'm different now. That's like, it's fine. I'm not going to like say he hasn't changed. I'm sure he has. It's just like, God, it's just like, I hate that that's on TV. And like,
I wonder, it surprises me that CBS hasn't edited that part out.
Yeah, like they put it, but that's the thing is like that's the weird part. I don't. Everybody talks about like censoring things too much, but I don't know if that's censoring because the way that was portrayed, it doesn't make him look bad. Yeah. That's not the intention of that scene. Yeah. If somebody is saying something and then they have a direct consequence from it, that's commentary. This is a glorification. This is like, oh, look how funny Boston Rob is, and that's why. I mean, if you want to keep stuff, I get it, but I just think it's like, it's not worth it. It's not even that funny. Like, the general has a small penis. Like, come on. Is that the best you got? Because, like, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with his jokes. Sorry.
I think there are better jokes he could have given. And
he's just like, Zoe, come on. I'm like,
What is that insinuating?
What are you saying? Okay, I know what I think. I know.
He insinuates it later.
Asshole. Yeah, he's gonna say it more.
Oh, he says it later when he's talking to Sean about the 8 men on the tribe and 1 woman, aka John. Yeah, we'll go there. But
I hate this.
But anyway, now we're on to Maramu again.
This man. Oh, why'd you bring me into this? I'm getting mad.
Well, more on a road to Maramu's figuring out their water source, and Gina's bonding with Kathy, Nelly, and Pascal. Sarah's definitely outcast over there. Good for her. On road to,
she's so funny. I think she knows I think she does kind of like, she did follow Rob a lot, but like, I just think it's like, some of these people don't, this is the 4th season. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing. And like Rob, like kind of knows what he's doing. So obviously like if I were her, I'd be like, yes, I'm going to, especially if it saves my life, you know, like duh. So, but like, she is a bit clueless out there. But like, I probably would have been too. So I'm not putting that against her. You know.
Amazing. All right. So we have over at row 2, Rob, Sean, and V are now forced to be row 2 worker bees. Rob, life over here is about 2 degrees shy of hell. These people are workaholics. Sean is comparing row 2 life to slavery. Interesting comment. He says it. This is the other part. Rob and Sean are doing a news report about how they hate row 2. Quote unquote, the women over there had bikinis and big boobs. Over here, we have 8 guys and 1 girl. I think her name is John. Totally homophobic. Surprise, surprise.
Not only that, it's like a lot of things. It's deeper than that. It's like
they have Tammy giving them food, and they're like, here's a woman we like because she gives us food.
Mm-hmm. Until we don't need her anymore.
Until we don't need her.
Until she stops serving us.
She does have a funny quote though. If Sean and Rob decide not to help us work, we will still feed them, but their asses will be gone. I was like, you go, girl.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I kind of like the row 2 for watching it back again. I was like, I kind of like.
I mean, it's long. Like, I mean, like, since you know what happens with Rob, you can also like the other people who are against them.
Yeah.
It's not Rob. It is Rob, but he's gone, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
Not spoilers, sorry. It's 19 years ago. We can say stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like, but so they can be in this moment the people I like here, which is kind of cool. But also the other people I like can also be the people I like because they don't involve Rob in their situation. So
exactly.
That's why it's fun.
I agree with you. All right. Well, Maramu, this is a funny little segment. They take a nature walk. Kathy's leading it. Sarah's in the back. They get lost at this like fishing pond with little shrimp. And Sarah, they're all like catching little shrimp together. And Sarah's like not having it at all. She's like, I want to leave. So she goes. And then she comes back because she gets lost. It's Sarah's doing nothing. It's basically the girl is dead weight.
I think I love that her laziness made her do more work than she would have done had she just been lazy in front of everybody. Like she walked away and then had to find her way back to not like it was beautiful.
Oh, for sure.
And just like you're like this is like such an obvious vote, and they're like, "Oh, Kathy's being annoying." I'm like,
"Come on, that's so just like production
misdirection." No, it's not.
Right.
It's
we
not.
all know
you haven't not heard anything that Gina was saying about Kathy. Like she said, like Kathy is irritating other people, but like Gina's like, "I love Kathy." Like, why would Gina ever? Like, I get it that they had to show who Sarah's, but like, I was never like, there was no surprise here. What was happening?
It was obvious who was going if they lost.
Yeah.
So before we get to the immunity challenge, there is one more thing on row 2. We have Sean getting pissed about work life. He starts a random fight with Gabe about how he's sick of working too hard and wants to relax. Y'all are gonna vote us off. Vote us off.
That's what I was like. I do obviously terrible strategy, but like I can empathize with that. Like because you don't want to like. There's a certain place in a game you can if you can read the room enough. I mean, you can get out of anything. I'm sure everybody knows that. Like there's maneuvering, but it's like some people just you don't have that kind of energy to be like I'm not gonna like just live this sort of life that doesn't need to happen while I'm on this show. I'm sure it's so because you're on this show, like even if we play online, like sometimes you get annoyed, but like you're not also hungry and overworked and tired. Where I just think that you're just gonna be like, I don't like this. I need to exist in my own way. And like Gabe, like the funniest part about this thing is like Gabe couldn't say shit. Gabe just was like, because I think he was like,
I just want the love tribe. I just want to be a worker bee. I'm not on automatic right now. I don't even know what's going on. Is this a game? I thought it was just surviving in the wilderness.
right? And those like, no, that's your fantasy, Valentina. Like, that's not everybody else's fantasy, and
Yeah.
that's fine. And that's what I'm saying is like everybody has their own fantasy of what it is, and their fantasies were not merging.
Yes, but Vesepia's was when she was saying, it's too much drama for me. Stay drama free, and that's the way to be.
That's what it is. It's true. She is she's like, I saw what the work she was doing. She was doing enough, but she wasn't pushing herself too hard. I think she was like, this is what we need. Like, she's like, this sucks. I really don't want to be doing this, but I'm doing enough. She had that balance of like, here, I'm talking in my confessional about how stupid I think this is and how I want to be chilling right now because that's what I would be doing over on Mara Amu. And then she comes and does it anyway, you know.
She plays the game and she plays it well. She's playing the game well because if they lost two, she'd still be there. They would be voting off Rob and Sean. They would not be voting off me.
Right. And it's just about temperament and what you show like to people. And like she has that perfect one that is just like she has that I will show you exactly what you want to see.
Oh, yeah.
And that's that.
There you go. All right, so we get to the immunity challenge, and it's the weaving puzzle. This one just gave me a lot of it gave me anxiety. That puzzle, like I suck at puzzles, as you know. I can't do them. I look at them and have panic attacks, so I run in the other direction. Mm-hmm. But this one just looked really extra anxious to me. You're pretty good at puzzles, so I feel like you would like this.
I mean, it's pretty fun. It's just like it's hard because like I feel like the movement is like awkward. The way I saw them doing it was getting stuck. Yeah. And that would have frustrated me, and having to work with other people would be frustrating. Like Kathy was a mess in being like very, because you can't focus on things like that. You have to like the eye does, you got to look for more concrete things when you're doing stuff like this. And everyone's like, well, there's more than one eye or something. But maybe if there was even only one eye, like this is a weird looking thing, you know, like your interpretation of what an eye is different than what everybody else's is. And you got to go with like simpler things than that, like lines and whatever. And you saw the way I think they were all like on one side and like Pascal was on the other side. And it was just a mess. It was a complete mess, but it was kind of fun we love mess, right?
Absolutely. It was great. In the end, row 2 won, sending Maramu back to tribal council again. This unlucky tribe.
Like they won by miles.
Miles. Like Maramu was just lost in the wilderness.
I don't think they were going to finish that, actually.
No, I don't think they did. That's how far it was apart between the two. But Maramu needed a tribe swap, and they still can't get it together. It's like, but maybe they'll win one. Or maybe they'll be the worst tribe in the history. Now that's too long. We all know what happens. But honestly, they before tribal, they're given this edit that Kathy might be a target. We all know what happens. They all go to tribal council. Basically, Sarah Jones, Queen of Breasts, and Cleopatra coming down the ocean with her breasts hanging out. Queen is voted out of the game. We all knew.
Gonna miss her.
Rest in peace from Survivor, Sarah Jones.
I was devastated. No, it was fun. It was gonna happen, and like she wasn't like, if she didn't see the writing, like she didn't see like that Gina was not working out. Like there were no cues hitting her. Then I don't know what else she could do in this game. Like. If you don't realize Gina is the person you need to be targeting, then that's it. That's absolutely it, honey. You can't just gritting my teeth.
Perfect. I mean, honestly, though, I'm happy Gina stayed because maybe we'll get some other sides to her. I feel like Gina's better when Sarah's gone. We get a better side of her for her final couple episodes. But I don't know. It's sad because I think Sarah is a character, and it's fun having a character make it. It would have been fun to see her hot ass mess make it to merge and
Yeah.
far into the game. That would have been fun to watch.
But it might not have been, because it might have been like just listening to other people doing and then like
For sure.
pagonging or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what I worry about. Like she was fun, but like could she make any active like choices there? Because like I don't know.
All right. So next, that finishes the episode portion. So next, we're going to get into our tops, bottoms, and hot mess express for the rounds. Okay. So I'm going to start with my top. My top would be the entire Rotu tribe. This tribe is dominating the game. We've never seen it up until this point in the first 3 seasons. So you got to give them props. They're killing it. They've had 4 out of 4 immunities. So definitely the Rotu tribe. Who would be your top?
Because it's just watching her play and just watching her talk and be right and correct about everything.
Yeah.
And just stay out of the that is, I mean, I think I'm performing with bias, and I'm sorry I'm ruining your show because of this.
No, I like it.
Like now seeing it, like, yeah, I know she wins, right? But now I know why. And these 2 episodes had so much. They had a lot of content from her.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And the way she acted at the swap or when a fight happened, it's like, I think everybody else has so much chaos.
Yeah.
And there's nothing chaotic about her.
I think everyone could learn something from her as a
She's
player.
such a dom top.
Oh, I love. Definitely the dom top. Well, next we have our big old bottom of the round. Who would be your bottom?
Rob, because anybody who makes comments like that is a terrible, terrible sloppy bottom.
Oh, agree.
Not that I'm disparaging bottoms in general, just sloppy bottoms like Rob, okay?
I'm going to agree with you. Rob is also my bottom player. I think that he's cocky. He went in like a sourpuss and said some really nasty shit in the last couple episodes that put him at the bottom for me. I put him actually, I'm pretty sure, at the top the last episode, but seeing this, I was like, he quickly went from top to bottom, switched it up.
Yeah, strategically, I could say like Hunter also bottom for me, but like if we're talking, you gave me a lot of options to choose what it means to be bottom in this, and I'm going for television wise. But also Hunter television wise is a bottom. I can't have it. I just was so glad to see him go. So yeah.
All right. Well, next we have our Hot Mess Express. I am going to say the entire Maramu tribe. They are a hot mess. They swapped tribes because Maramu was doing so bad and Maramu still lost. That's a hot mess. So Maramu tribe can't get it together. Hot Mess Express. Who's yours?
I mean this lovingly, and it's got to be Sarah, because it was a miracle to watch her just like do everything wrong on when the swap happened and just not realize that, honey, you're in danger, girl. Like, where just everything she decided to do, she did the wrong thing. And it was beautiful and iconic to watch. And just to see her like laying upon the American flag draped in it later on, and just being totally just, I'm beautiful and perfect and everything's going to be fine. And then the no-nos say no. You're still in trouble, baby. It was so perfect. I love her.
Amazing. Yes. We all do. We all love her. All right, next is our game for the round. I like to do a little game here. And today the game is in honor of Rob. So it is called Rob's Mafia. All right. No. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to list anyone. It could be a celebrity, could be a thing, whatever. Would this person, place, or thing join Rob's Mafia, or would they be taking the hit? Would the Mafia be going after them? Mm-hmm. So you're going to tell me what you think. And it's completely subjective. So what you think and why, okay?
Mhm.
So the first one I'm going to make it easy. Jeff Probst. Would Jeff Probst join Rob's Mafia, or would he get the hit?
That's a tough one. You started hard. I think I guess there's just such a distance for Jeff Probst that he would probably be a part of the mafia that's separate, a total different entity, you know, like a different Dawn for a different like city or something. Like Rob is in Florida, and I guess Jeff Probst is in California. I'd assume he'd live somewhere around there. So they're separate enough that there's no hit out for him, but that's definitely competition. But I think they're in the same family, so there's some love there that will keep the kill away.
You know, I'm going to add just a third one as well. Going after Rob's Mafia. Are they trying to take his mafia down? Are they trying to join it or take the hit?
I think I think he's trying to build up Rob's mafia, actually.
Okay. All right. So the next one, AOC. What would AOC do?
Oh God, going after that, honestly. Especially if you just saw that episode, tear down the patriarchy, honestly.
I think that was an easy one, though.
That was like I think you set that up for me.
I did. I had to do AOC. She's queen. Next, the host of Good and Evil, Justin. What would Justin do?
God, Justin. Oh my God. Justin would be a hit for Rob. Like, that is the type of person that Rob would want.
He'd buy Justin, have fun. All right. Next would be COVID-19, coronavirus.
That's fucking us all up right now. I don't even. He'd try it, but I don't think it would work. Jesus. Like,
all right.
Don't fuck with it. Be safe. Stay home. That's what we're saying. Wear a mask. Come on.
All right. What about Lady Gaga?
Oh, Lady Gaga. Listen, she'd be just joining up with AOC at this point. Am I wrong?
We all know it's
that's
true.
That's a whole separate like entity. The two feuding towers, I guess I would say. Not even that I'm giving Rob Mariano as much credit as these two powerhouses. Like, it's like a little tiny tower versus their grand scale.
Amazing. What about Sarah in the year 2021, who now has kids and a husband?
You know what? She's just staying out of it. She learned from V.
She learned from V, so she's
just saying, no drama. No drama.
All right, well, that concludes our podcast for today. Nick, we had so much fun. What did you think of everything?
Oh, it was lovely. I had a great time talking about this. I mean, I got to watch 4 episodes because I watched the first 2 too and rewatched them. And it was a trip down memory lane, kind of. Not that I have any memories because, it's just gone now. Right. But yeah, it was definitely a bit of a shocker to see how different everything was. It was like the Stone Age back then, honestly.
I know. All right. Well, guys, if you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Mendels8. And then if you want to follow the Couch Potato Queens on Twitter, you can follow us at Couch Potato Queens. It's Couch Potato QWNZ. You can follow us on our Facebook group, the Couch Potato Queens Podcast, or you can find me, Josh Mendelson, on Facebook. I'm sure you can find Nick as well on Facebook.
If you want to find me, you can find me. I don't post much. I don't do much, but I'm here.
He's fun, though. He's a lot of fun.
Look at it.
He's good.
Ask me questions. I have too much to say.
All right, guys, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We will be back. We have another Survivor interview coming up over the next couple weeks as well. Don't forget to tune into our Drag Race podcast on Friday nights at 10:15. Our Bachelor podcast hosted by Alex on Tuesday night. And I'll be posting every Monday and Wednesday of Survivor recaps. So with that, remember to outwit, outlast, and outgay Henny. Have a good night, guys.